don't care. I got paid. I made a G today, but I made it in a sleazy way, doing jokes for kids. I got to get paid. That's the way it is. Big show week for me.
Big show week.
Listen, I want to start this segment by saying I'm not trying to SHIT on any of these shows.
No. Oh, no. Not when he spells it.
But, and also, honestly, shout out to everybody who came to the shows. We had a big feature weekend down there in Asheville, and then we went right to the Sunday night headliner gig. Oof. Late.
It's hard when you're performing like exclusively for parents of small children, and you're like, do you want to get drunk on a Sunday night?
Mm-hmm.
9:30?
They did. We were more tired than the audience.
I was tired.
In Asheville.
I was tired of myself. Do you ever get into that mode?
Oh, yeah.
You know, where you're like, oh my God, like I'm just back on my bullshit. And you're like, everyone else is like, oh, and like what else is new? And you're like, I don't know. I'm going to like walk into the river. I've got nothing. Like, and those people were like so fired up about like one woman was like, well, you know, I like went on this big trip and like this thing and like whatever. And I was like, she was like, but what's new with you? And I was like,
well, maybe because when you're raising small kids, you're doing something very important.
I know. I
but
am
not
important.
Interesting. You can't. What have you been doing? I'm like, you change a diaper and then you go, you want some food? And it's actually like, it's interesting to us.
Changing diapers is not interesting to me.
I'm saying feeding Pearl. She was laughing. She had teeth now.
None of that interests me.
All right. Intervention.
No, I know what you mean, but it's like like a good day when you have kids under 4, you're like, we got a poop in the potty. We got a poop from the baby before nap time.
See, this excites me. When you said poop in the potty, viscerally in my chest, I go, yeah.
Well, because the other options are poop in the underwear or poop on the floor.
Yeah.
Which is not great. But
when you're saying, are you tired of yourself? So I did 2 20-minute sets and then I headlined, quote unquote, Sunday. But I was up there killing and it was 25 minutes and it was late and it was like a very smallish show. So I was like, I'm done. And when I watch somebody do 45, which I've done probably once, and I've done a lot of 20s and some 30s, I go, who the fuck could do 45 and who wants to sit through it? I don't care who it is. Everything should be shorter. Let's just adjust the comedy norm.
I've done 45 and it is long. And first of all, it's just the nature of the situation. So many of us comics come up doing 7 to 12 minutes, which is like, you have to truncate some of your thoughts because you've got to keep the momentum going. And it's such a short period of time that you're like, I need to get laugh, right?
Vecchione told me early on, he goes, a laugh every 7 seconds. And
Absolutely.
then I saw him 5 years later and he goes, oh, that doesn't matter. Do a TikTok or something. He was like, it doesn't matter.
But when you have it's like the gift and the curse of time where you go, oh, I have 45 minutes. Like, talk about laying out. You're like, I can go into every dumb detail, every dumb thought I had in the creation of this joke, every tag that I ever wanted to try, everything. Yeah. And like, there is something fun about that, but I can't even watch like a 45-minute TV show. Like, I don't know.
No.
Like, we collectively as a people have just gotten so far away from like legitimately enjoying 45 minutes of stand-up comedy. It's too much.
Well, this crowd, because I was with Ryan Beck, and he did do 45 the first show, and they loved it. He wasn't like, he did 40, but I was just like, wow, I was tired of myself.
It was you, Ryan, and an
first
opener
show,
or a host?
First show was host, me, Ryan.
Right.
So it was 15, 20 plus for me, 20 but don't exceed 30, and then he did 45. And that show was great. And then the next show was like, we're going to throw a couple more local guys on. Right. And it was light. Like, it ended up being like 25 people in the audience, but it started with like 16.
Right.
So I just go, let's just cut all our time. It's a late show, whatever. So I'm going to do 15. But there was a local dude who was like, nope, I'm doing 20. I'm scheduled for 20. And he was up there bombing his ass off. And the first hour of the show, host, guest, feature, was almost a pure silence. And Ryan, to his credit, goes up to me and goes, these people haven't seen anything good yet. You'll be good. Relax. Like, he didn't want me to get up there and just like,
well, that's what I was going to say.
Audience right
of
away.
Course not. That's what I was gonna say. Is I remember doing a show with Libby up in New Hampshire, yeah, and it was fun, but it was supposed to be like they told us there was gonna be a host, and then it was gonna be Libby headlining, and I was like her opener or whatever I was doing. Then they were like, JK, there's some other people on the show, and I think the crowd was like very into it, but they were like, I don't know, like a Saturday afternoon New Hampshire crowd. Like it was just a little bit like, these are just like people living their lives. And so then when you tell them like, oh, you're going to watch Allison for like 45 minutes, which like they're pumped to do, but then you kind of cram other people in for like short, like 5 to 7 minute sets.
Yeah.
It's too much. You're like, okay, now, you know, like I feel like this happens in the city all the time. You're like, oh, I'm here to see, there's like 4 or 5 acts like listed on the show poster. And you get there and it's like, there's actually 8 people on the show. It's too many people. It's like, just get to the point. I've run out of energy to give to the performer.
Yeah. Well, another thing that struck me that's not New York centric, but is unique to the road is that people would actually walk up to the show and be like, what kind of comedy is this, to like the person running it? And I absolutely loathe like comedy bios. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like this, and this. But I'm like, on the road, some people actually read your bio. And if you're like, Noah's married and talks about his kids and talks about working in an office and does jokes about iPads and does jokes about this and he does some crowd work, actually for the customer, that might be useful.
Well, you know, that makes me feel like, because we all like live in a simulation, as you know, Dylan, I feel like that's just like because we've all become so used to the algorithm. And so if you watch something on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, whatever, and you watch it, you're like, I like dogs. And then you're like, more videos about dogs. And it's like, so it's like, if you go to like someone's comedy bio and you're like, parents, puppy, food, you're like, those are things I like. It's like,
you should almost write like Nate Bargatze mixed with, and the audience would like that.
Well, but it's like, this is what like agents do, right? Like if they have a new talent or something and they're pitching them, or like this happens in books all the time too. It's like, if you liked Girl on the Train, you'll like blah, 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 blah. Like it's like, but it's kind of funny because it's literally just mimicking like what we do online. It's just like, oh, like, do you like really naked Instagram hoes?
Yes.
Like you'll love porn.
Do you like Stepsister in the living room? You're gonna love Stepsister Realtor in the family room.
It's really like,
Dylan, can you take show notes today? Is that possible?
what does that
Just
mean?
lightly to keep track of what we're talking about with light timestamps. Be like, we talked about our shows, then we talked about this. It'll help me for post. Thank you so much.
Just giving Dylan jobs as he's already doing a job.
But the Sunday show was great. I thought you were great. You looked fantastic. Shout out to the Gunters for bringing in a party bus full of fans.
I know. That was sick.
We knew the Gunters, but we don't really know their friends. So we actually hung out with them at a barbecue before, which of course comics know is kind of a nightmare. But just because it's weird to like hang out but they showed up. They were great.
Yeah.
Your boy crushed. I felt good about the set,
Good.
but it was also weird sitting because the roof was low. So I'm sitting with a mic with the people I was just at a barbecue with.
The roof wasn't low. It was insanely low. Like I had to duck.
Yeah.
And you...
I've never sat on stage before.
Have I? I'm sure I have. But it was probably like a bit.
Like Lunel.
Yeah.
Hell no. I'm not standing up for you fools.
I mean, watching Lunel perform, also like, I'm pretty sure she also didn't sit on a stool. She like made Tracy Morgan get her a chair because she was like, my knees hurt. Like,
you better be so funny because to me,
she is, obviously.
If you sit, you're taking one of the elements of the like magicianry of the show away.
Well, also just think about like, I think of live performance as it's like really important that you're putting out the right amount of energy. And I don't mean like, you know, people who are like really dry on stage or whatever. I'm like, it's an energy thing. So like if you're standing, you're just so much more likely to be like, you know, like reaching out to people.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting, your body language is like, I'm checked out. Like it's just, you know, that's just what I think is. But I don't know. I don't, when people come out and want to sit on stage, I'm like, you have to be Lunel level funny. You have to be.
Yeah. And I think
you guys couldn't help it because it's just too small of a room.
Yeah, of course I bring Mike, the other tallest, most
Right.
giant, and he did great too. And it was super fun hanging out with him. And
Very.
we did have a nice swim in the pool together.
Yeah, just you and Mike. That was cute.
Yeah. But the other feeling, and I don't want to be ungrateful here, but the feeling of comedy.
Well, wait,
go
before you
ahead.
move on from the party.
Yeah.
One thing that did make me laugh about the party, because it was like spectacular, and the Gunters are like so great, and they like
Bartender, catered.
I mean, custom cocktails, like
umbrellas.
cheese boards
Chairs.
and lobster rolls, and
Oh
just
my
like
God, yes. They were like, oh, there's a big pile of lobster rolls. And I laughed. And then they were like, no, there it is. And I was like, what?
But I blame myself for this because of course they're like, oh, we're gonna have this like barbecue pool party, and then we're gonna go to the show, and I was like, of course. What does Alyssa Wolff wear to a barbecue pool party? And the answer is like this baggy ass gray dress like over a bathing suit with sneakers. And I got there, and it was literally the scene from Mean Girls where she shows up in like a scary outfit, and like all these other women are dressed to the nines. Like
Yeah, they didn't go in the pool because they were like, I did my hair and makeup already.
They
And I
looked
was like,
so
oh, okay.
hot, and I literally looked like I'm the housekeeper. I don't. Why am I wearing this outfit? Like I wanted to absolutely.
Also, the guys were hot and jacked, and all the girls were like, we're going to, I don't know, like it felt like they were going to a wedding.
Right. The men were dressed like dads. Like a lot of them were wearing sneakers with high socks, baseball caps. Like one guy was wearing like bathing suit or like gym shorts or whatever. Like they looked a little bit more like on my level, but I'm like, I looked like Sonia was like, let's take pictures. And I was like, I'd like to pretend that this never happened.
Well, you tried on a couple outfits that I would say were a little bit more like dressing up. And then you're like, I'll just wear this. And then,
Well, because I also changed to go on stage.
Yeah.
Because it was so hot out. I was like, well, I don't want to wear something that's like, not cotton and then be so hot and then like go on stage and be like, I'm uncomfortable from being hot and sweaty and like whatever. But like, man, I blame myself because I know those girls and I know that they were going to dress up. I just like don't know what I was thinking. / I guess I was just rushing. But
overthink, underthink.
But it's like one of those things, like usually I'm like, I'd rather be the person who's like so overdressed. And then I got there and I was like, I misinterpreted this.
Well, I thought after these big shows I was so excited for, and not to be so downer, and I'm very appreciative for the stage time.
Yeah.
You do the spots, and it's like what Colin Quinn said in that movie Comedian. It's like, you're really back when you're killing and you're going, this sucks. We're still both so hard on ourselves that we're like, I do 25 minutes. That's like most of it. I forgot one joke. It's like, of the A I'm working right now, it's like 28 minutes. And I'm like, that's it? That's all you think about or talk about or do? And it's like, but it's taken a long time to kind of cobble together the chunks.
Well, and I think this is like a pet peeve of mine. I feel like I've talked about it on the pod before, but I'm like, you and I both try to do stuff that's still hyper relevant to our lives. Like we try to stay very current with our stand up. And I'm like, so I'm not going to do jokes about like dating because I don't date currently.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I pull up a joke from like, oh, I went on this date with this guy or whatever, it's like, but we know that you're married. Because half of your set hinges on the fact that you're married.
How about that person that did a whole 7-minute set that I met, and I go, oh, so you're a nanny? And she goes, and it's all about being a nanny. And then she goes, no. Why'd you get that idea? Let's move on to they say don't meet your heroes. But.
We did.
Oops. Wait, cut that. Do it again.
They
say don't meet your heroes. Blink. We did.
But we did.
We met the cast of Summer House on Bravo.
This says drinks with benefits.
Drinks with benefits. We went to the soft bar launch. Carl.
Summer House fans, listen up.
Yeah. What is
Okay.
What's Carl's last name again?
Radke.
Carl Radke. Let me give you my 2 initial thoughts, and then you jump in.
Okay, but remember how when we met Jesse Solomon, he referenced his own stupid "What would Jesse Solomon do" song, and we were like, okay, and he was like, I almost made merch for that, and we were like, made merch for what? For yourself?
Relax. I wanted to give you my initial thoughts.
I just have been thinking about that. I've been thinking about that all night.
So first we stood around like losers in the background. I had flashbacks to my TV career because all the production around. I was like, okay.
Well, first of all, we drove all the way out to, this was a launch party at someone's house because.
For Soft Bar.
For Soft Bar. I don't want to like steal any of Carl's thunder, But Soft Bar is launching as a mobile van.
But it's public. I looked this up so we don't blow up the spot. We know that Soft Bar is coming, and it's...
But they're starting with a mobile...
van, but it's also, the idea is going to be brick and mortar eventually, I think. And that's what the thing I said.
He told me he's looking at spaces...
Wait, initial thoughts. Don't jump in.
Brooklyn.
Don't jump in.
Hence the Brooklyn hat.
The first...
And the Brooklyn tees.
You meet celebrities usually, they're tiny.
Oh, these guys were huge.
Everybody's huge. Carl's taller than me.
No, he's not.
Same height.
He's 6'5".
Much better teeth. Number 2.
His teeth are half his head, and they look awesome. Like, I was like, oh, maybe it's
Jesse Solomon,
too
huge.
much teeth. Also
tall,
big teeth.
As tall as me. And then West, who got a short edit on the show.
Yeah.
He's like 6'4".
He's not 6'4".
He's like a safety. I go to him. I go, you're a much taller person. He goes, I get that all the time. And I go, I don't know why I was picturing like Wes Welker, like 5'8", little like, wide receiver in the slot. And he goes, I played safety.
First of all, it's part of it. I didn't want to tell this to his face because I do like how he dresses, but part of it is how he dresses. He shortens his look. Like,
yeah.
As my fellow not watch what happens.
Bravo.
No. What not to wear heads know.
Oh, we should have her on the pod.
I mean, shout out Stacey London, my good friend Stacey London.
Our friend.
And Kat, of course, we love you.
She hates when I high five her, by the way.
It's very annoying. At least you're not like touching my head.
High five.
you are putty.
Elaine, high
Also,
five.
in that hat, you're like extra putty.
She's like, I can't take it. We got to break up again.
Vegetable lasagna. So when you look at West's outfit, which like it looks cool, but it shortens him because he's doing it's like a retro look of like the high-waisted pants and a boxy top. If you're going to wear that, Stacey London will tell you, you're going to look shorter. You have to elongate your body. Even if you saw what Jesse Solomon was wearing or Carl, they're both quite tall. They're wearing like regular pants at their waist. Although Carl's wearing like white bell bottoms, which I had thoughts about. And then like a tucked in shirt, which like you're establishing where the middle of your body is, and Wes doesn't do that. He likes like that oversized look, so then you look short. But he's not 6'4". I'd say he's like maybe 6'1".
Okay, but I'm saying even the storyline with Sierra, they made it seem, and maybe it's my own heightist bias, but they made it seem like I usually like tall guys, but there's this kind of like cute little funny guy, and he's a little cuddly cutely.
But if you see Wes next to Carl,
he's a jacked, big football player, but they wanted him to be cutie cuddly. So I don't know how they edited him into my mind as like 5'8".
I think he's more cutie cuddly than the guys who are 6'5".
For sure,
he's
but I'm
a lot
saying
shorter than Carl.
In the realm of men, okay, he's a tall, jacked football player. That's not how he was edited. He was edited as a little like Ewok almost, like I'm West.
Can I tell you something?
Dude, you're a freaking alpha dog. You're a big boy.
I would not describe him as big.
I mean, ride them things.
And I don't think of him as jacked.
Let me tell you something. He's jacked. Safeties, yeah.
He was a safety like 12 years ago.
Yeah, and what was I?
Exactly. What were you?
Safety boyfriend, and you married me.
Yikes. But Jesse and Carl are legitimately quite tall. Like quite tall.
I went up to Jesse because we were like, how are we going to talk to these celebrities, these Bravo celebrities? And I go,
Jesse is fully...
Oh my God, you know what we didn't do with these people? I just realized?
What?
We didn't even tell them that Joe's your cousin.
Oh, but I don't think they really know him.
I think they all know each other.
Yeah, but Joe is like, first of all, he's a lot younger than these guys. And second of all, like...
Joe dated the girl from Summer House briefly.
Oh, that's true.
So they 100% know. We'd be like, yeah, Joe's, our cousin. That would have been such an in.
First of all, and I say this with love, Jesse Solomon is so high on his own supply. Yeah. I've never seen someone just like, just literally surround himself with mirrors and be like, you're doing great. Like, it's honestly how you probably have to be successful in reality television. But I was like, everything we even said to him, he was like, can I get away from these people? Because we're like not exclusively talking about me.
100%. I thought he was very nice to talk to us.
He was nice.
He did go right in for the hug. He mashed his chest right against your boobs, right in front of me, and was like, give me all that. You looked like a damn snack in your blue dress.
I don't know about that.
Just wear this, where you look like one type of snack, and then over there you look like another type of snack. Your boy was very happy with your outfit.
I would describe this current snack outfit that I'm wearing as protein bar. And I'd say last night's outfit was more like... I don't know.
Carl also hugged you right in front of me.
Pastry puff. Carl's like legitimately, I mean, I think he has well-documented demons, but his energy.
Charisma.
His energy is like really
nice,
positive.
kind.
It's really nice. It's really nice.
Even when he had the mic up there, I go, this
He's
guy
being
can do
nice.
anything. He's being nice. He's being
Genuine.
genuine. He's got great charisma on the mic. I was like, listen, this dude's talking about the ingredients of the mocktail I just drank with the, siphoned off cinnamon beans. And I'm like, who gives a fuck? And then Carl will come in and save the day. And I truly wish Carl the best. He's a nice person.
Me too. He also kind of he's very, very good at this. And obviously this is probably why he was good at sales and everything. Mm-hmm. He's very good at taking something like a non-alcoholic bar and like grounding it for everyone else. Like, because I think like the bartender who was talking about all the different like things in his cocktail.
But do you remember what his phraseology was about non-alcoholic bar?
No.
When he said it's not a non-alcoholic bar, it's a conscious beverage.
Oh, mindful drinking.
Mindful drinking experience or something. But I was like, that's sales right there.
That's what the press release said. So I wasn't that impressed with that because I'm like, he's just repeating back the press release. But
a lot of people can't do that. They screw up the words.
I thought he's very confident on stage. And I know on the show, he was like, oh, I'm also thinking about like becoming like a sober coach or like someone who speaks and whatever. And I was like, he 1,000% should do that because he's legitimately inspiring the way he talks about things. Mm-hmm. And he is like, as someone who is desperately searching the property for alcohol and like sort of forced to reckon with my own issues around alcohol.
For someone who corrects me when I'm wrong about something intensely and takes glee in it, when you strike me,
no, I take glee.
Yes, when I'm wrong about something, you go, no. You're drinking the non-alcoholic wine at a non-alcoholic party, and you're going, but this one is real wine. And I go, no, it's not. And I get the bottle. And then you go, yeah, I was waiting for it to hit.
I was like mainlining
it. That's the whole point of the whole story. That's the whole point of the whole bar.
Wait, but this brings me to another, speaking of you being wrong about everything.
Yep. I know where this is going.
Here's a fun thing that we did last night because the party was quite far away from our home. And we left very early. And Noah, I asked you if you put the address of this man's house into your phone correctly. Mm-hmm. And what did you say?
I said, yes, Senator.
And as a nice person and a good partner.
Yep. You were being my partner.
I knew that if I was like, let me check because I don't believe anything you do to be correct the first time. If I asked you to be like, can I just check the address? You would have been really mad and been like, don't double check my work. I can make choices too. I know how to be a real boy or whatever. And so then I didn't, which was just me being nice to you. Uh-huh. And then where did we go?
Well, we were supposed to go to the Jersey Shore area and we drove to like due west of the Lincoln. We went to Summit, New Jersey instead of basically the Jersey Shore. And I'm from Jersey and I know the difference between those towns. And then when we got there, somebody's like, yeah, that's not even close. And I go, yeah, when we got on 78 West, like due west to Pennsylvania, I was like, all right, I should have noticed then. But we were having a great time. And I was actually, complimenting you as we're driving. I was like,
where's the Atlantic Ocean?
Nobody knows.
I was like, that's just like a river.
I go, Dylan, I go. I tell the guy. I says to him. Remember that Farley sketch?
Yeah.
I says to the guy, I was like, we're so great. Nobody's on our level. We're at the same level of physical attractiveness, but also we're at the same level of being smart. And we're like, just like congratulating ourselves on living. I'm like, I bought this Subaru. I'm so smart. And then I'm like, anyway, we're in the wrong town by an hour and a half.
Well, also when I took your phone to be like, no, this is definitely not right. And I put in the right address. It said that we were like 2.5 hours away from our destination. I at that point I was like, I would rather just go home. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I'd already been in the car for over an hour.
You were like, how fast can I get a gun in New Jersey?
Fast.
Yeah.
I was just listening to a true crime story about this guy who like finally got caught for like a murder. Mm-hmm. And before they could even like arrest him or like take him in. He was living in Florida, shocking. And he just like went to the store and bought a gun and killed himself because like that's how fast you can get a gun in Florida.
Yep.
Within hours before the police could even come just like arrest him from his like old age home. Mm-hmm. It's insane. That's too fast.
yeah, we're swerve away from that.
Well, I'm just saying. You brought it up.
I just made a one-off joke. I don't want to talk about gun control policy in America. Yeah, well, we got a laugh from Dylan. It was funny.
He just
we have a hard out
he's
today.
watching you melt down.
Couple more thoughts about the summer house vibe.
I have way more thoughts.
All right, so my thought was
Noah ate every single hors d'oeuvre.
that's my move. I know that these waitresses and waiters, they want to get rid of their stuff, and I go, you just find the big guy.
It was 140,000 degrees outside, and we were just standing in some guy's yard, and Noah ate so much like warm ceviche. I was like,
What I do every time as a bit, and nobody ever laughs at it, is I go,
must have hated it.
oh, and I go, oh, what is this, ceviche? And then like I've had like 15 of them from the same waiter, and I go, oh, ceviche?
Well, she got concerned about me at one point because she was like, do you want to eat anything? Like she thought that you were like blocking me, and I was like, I'm actually just like allergic to shellfish, so like I can't eat a lot of the things you're passing around. And she was like, oh, okay. And then she was like, that I made a joke about how you were her best customer, which is just like a really old person thing to do. Because obviously we're not customers. And then she came back and like made the joke back to you. And I was like, I just gave you that line.
I hate when people do that.
It's so annoying.
They like don't understand that you've already made the point they've made, and they've like, he's my best customer.
I go, I just said that to you, girl, like 4 seconds ago.
My favorite part is when somehow you got locked into the wrong target, where you were just talking to a random man from that town about his commute, and I was like, God, abort, get away. He's like, yeah, I take the boat. Sometimes I take the train, whatever. And I was like,
he just seemed wealthy, and so I was like, why don't I just like hang out with this wealthy man?
Little second option for you.
I mean, he was like probably 70.
I think that for a generation of us who suffer from main character syndrome anyway, because we have front-facing cameras, if you're on a reality show and you get rich and famous from it, what a strange existence. Because if you're Michael Phelps in the world and you're walking around famous, it's weird. But you know
why.
But if you just get famous because someone's watching you eat lunch with your friend and go, I don't know if they're going to make it. Well, what a strange existence. I don't envy these people. I'm like, it's weird.
I have to say, because obviously I watch all these shows and I am self-aware of the fact that I watch them, but I'm like, being there and basically being on set with them, first of all, I'm like, oh, like none of this, like the relationships are real, I think, but like the storylines are manufactured. I mean, we were watching them set up things for the show, and like all the cameras were there.
That's no like secret.
It's not a secret, but I think when you're seeing it, like you worked on a set, so you're like a little bit more aware of that. I think for me, seeing that in real time, where they're like, oh, like Carl, don't you want to talk to? Because there's 2 new people on the show this season, and they're both like mega influencers, and the producers are like, Carl, don't you want to sit with this girl and like whatever they're talking about? I wasn't like a part of that scene, but I'm like, they're setting like scenes like a script. Like they have like a shot list, and they're like, didn't you want to talk to this girl with 1 million followers about like how you got sober or whatever? And so then they're like setting up these like vignettes, and you're like, when you're watching the show, I feel they do a very good job editing wise of like not making you feel like that. You're not feeling like, oh, that's totally bullshit. Like, why would he talk to her right now?
And to defend them, and I'm comparing to a dog show, so much less drama. Sometimes there's some drama, but they might go, all right, Carl's going to do his announcement about Soft Bar. Then you're going to go to your partner who you worked with on it on camera, just sit on this couch.
Right.
And just talk about what happened. So they might not be like, and I'm sure there's like writing as well based off what happens, but a lot of it is just thing happens, grab the react, thing happens, grab the react. Like, that's how it goes.
I understand, but I'm saying like for me, like seeing the level of production was like really interesting because I don't think I actively think about that. And then too, like so Paige was there. Sierra was there. Gabby was there.
Sierra.
And that guy, what's his name? Jason? Jason was there, but he was just supporting. He wasn't on camera. The hot black guy that also hooked up with Lindsay.
Amazing looking.
He's really nice looking.
Yeah.
And like he looked cool, but he wasn't like, he's not on the show anymore.
And then
he was just like coming to support Carl.
Some dentist came up to me and was like, do I know you? And I was like,
with the swirly hair.
I'm like, maybe you know me from being on television. He was like, not that.
Do you know that what he actually said to you? Because you were like going through like where he played hockey. So
No,
like,
what did he say for me? He said, do you know anybody from Dartmouth?
yeah, but he was like, I played hockey at Dartmouth. Like maybe there's like an Ivy League thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you were like, maybe you know me from like
Covering the Ivy League on television.
No, but let me get to the line he said because it was crazy.
Waiting.
He goes, no, it was something much more intimate than that.
I was like, was it the sex
what?
party in 2012? Exclusively.
I was like, did you guys date? Like what?
Exclusively dentists and dental
Intimate?
hygienists?
I was like, have you looked in his mouth? Like you are a dentist.
I think we were like at a wedding together in like 2011 or something. I don't know. That's my like guess. I have no idea.
I didn't know him at all, and the other guy that I thought might have been there, who I do know, who's also a hockey player, wasn't there. So I was like, oh, whatever. But that guy knew that guy.
I think what happened was my theory about guys wearing hats at formal events took play, because I had like the the cocktail wear on, and then I put the hat on, and all of a sudden
the
people
merch
go,
is great, by the way.
people are like, is he like a director? Or like, I did this. Remember when I did this at the restaurant in the West Village? I wore the hat, and people were like, oh, he's like a famous guy trying to not be recognized.
Is that something that happened, or did you just wear a hat in a restaurant?
I think people were, oh, guy's eating a lot. What's up with that guy?
I don't know about that. But yeah, I don't want to like ruin anything, but obviously West and Sierra did not speak.
Okay.
Did you think they spoke?
I didn't see them speak, and I obviously don't want to ruin anything either.
But they were at the event together.
We didn't talk to Paige or any of the women because I was trying, but Paige really had the don't talk to me vibe, I thought.
She definitely did. And also it was like quite hot out. And then they were like, there was different times where they were like setting up shots. And I was like even when we said hi to Wes, like he was at the end, like they were de-micing him. But I'm like, they were like technically working. It was such a weird.
I got good vibes from everybody, and
Yeah,
I thought
they were
were
nice.
all pretty down to earth given how like they're Bravo celebrities.
Totally. I thought the three people that we actually spoke to, like I thought they were legitimately nice. I thought Jason also seemed nice. He was like keeping a very low profile, even though like he obviously knew that I knew who he was.
Who is Jason? Wait, Jason?
Yeah, the guy who used to be on the show, who also used to date Lindsay. He was on Winter House.
Oh, the hot dude. Okay, yeah.
The black guy who was like a model, but also something else. I forget.
A nurse.
No, that's Sierra.
Yeah, I know.
But he like has a real job too, I think.
Well, it's better. I think it's better if they have real jobs. We have 10 minutes, so let's talk Olympies. Olympics. Are you in them this year?
I just barely made the cut.
Yeah.
We were like laughing with our waitress last night about how when you watch these people do these like crazy Olympic things and then you go, could probably do that.
Yeah, well, in my case, I could because a lot of it's basketball and also
a lot of the Olympics are not basketball.
The way I see it is half the Olympics is basketball, 5-on-5, 3-on-3. The other half, trampoline. Okay.
What's trampoline?
Trampoline's an Olympic event.
What do you do? Jump?
They're like 10. You can just like do half. First of all, shout out to Kareem, my teammate from college. He's on the 3-on-3 basketball team. Not going great. They haven't won a game, but Jimmer got injured. And for the people wondering, 3-on-3 is the main difference is when the ball goes through the net, it's the other team's ball and it's alive. You don't check it up. But you have 4 players, you get to play three guys at a time. It's the hardest.
It's a big workout.
It's so much harder than it looks.
Right? It's half court.
Yeah, but because it's continuing, even in 5-on-5 basketball, there's a foul, there's a whistle, there's a free throw. There's like kind of a lot of stoppages.
I'm tired just hearing about it.
Yeah, 3-on-3. I played one event in Brooklyn when I was like peak fatness, and
it was hard.
It was really hard, and I didn't really like it. It was like very rough and very hard, and I was annoyed. But,
have you seen the guy whose only job at the Olympics is to dive in and get people's swim caps that fell off?
No.
Because it's you. He literally comes out. He's like vaguely in shape, but vaguely not. And he's like wearing a Speedo. No, like he's clearly like a swimmer. Like he's like an athlete of some kind. Mm-hmm. But he's also like probably 15 years older than everyone there.
Yeah.
And then he just like comes out in his little Speedo and he like dives in. But he's like really big. like really tall. I mean, anyway, I really like him a lot.
Well, the other thing you love is that because it's like tape delay, the way they're covering it is kind of, I think it's smart because you can get Peacock and you can watch anything you want live,
Right.
or replay because you're like, oh, I wanted to see that. But then you can also watch the Masterpiece Theater, Mike Tirico alone.
Well, that's my favorite.
In a set that looks like a Holiday Inn Express.
He's literally like, hello. And you're like, this is not, it's just,
It's me, Mike Tirico.
he's like, I'm like, you're just reporting on sports. He's like, didn't see you there.
Yeah.
You're like, it reminds me of that meme that we both love where he's like doing all the different introductions. Do you know what I'm talking about? He's like, do you ever put a mouse in space?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It never happened. It didn't happen. It's fake.
Yeah. And they always
the coverage has been over. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say they always give Mike a different set, which is like totally unnecessary because we're all just like watching it for like the main event. Like it's like there's no reason to change his set
Who did
at
set
all.
Divine? Bonvoy?
Divine?
It looks like IHG hotels. Like
It really looks like and here's Mike at a Kimpton.
Yeah.
For no reason.
The Kimpton would be much nicer than what he is.
Well, there was one night
with.
where they put him with those orange chairs, and neither one of us liked it.
Yeah. Overall, I think the coverage has been pretty good.
Yeah.
And they sucked me right into the men's gymnastics team. They're like, this guy's a hick, this guy's a nerd weirdo.
Well, everyone's obsessed with Steven whatever because his only job is pommel horse, and then he just pommeled that horse.
Yeah, and then
Like,
as you
he doesn't even do any of the other events. He's just like pommel horse.
do your McLovin. You're like, he's McLovin.
He's literally like, what's the
Like, chicka, chicka.
yeah, like
Yeah, pommel horse. You
he like
do it.
gets off the pommel horse and he's just like chicka chicka, yeah, pommel horse. And then he has like some gymnast girlfriend, and they're just like very cute and like nerdy together. And he was doing his like Rubik's cube. It's very charming.
And there's a dude who grew up on the farm. He had the compound fracture of the leg.
Ugh,
Absolutely awful. And then they're like, he's the best in the world at this event, and then he fell off. And I was like, what kind of jinx was that, man?
I know.
You don't jinx like that.
I will say the announcers, specifically for gymnastics, like men and women, I'm like, ultimate jinx. They're like, she's like running across the mat, and they're like, she's really got to stick this. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
She's going to. Like, leave her alone. Like, can she just like flip and not like, why don't you say something after and be like, that was really clutch, instead of being like, it all comes down to this. I'm like, it's like she can hear you. It's like bad karma. Like, I don't like that. Really stresses me out. Also, now that I have kids watching the Olympics, I do not know how these parents, like you made this point and it's really smart, but it's like, we're watching these people who are also still quite young, like nail these routines or fall. And it's like all very stressful and devastating because you can nail your routine and still lose. But you were saying like, one of the reasons I'm getting so stressed is like these parents also had to watch these kids fail. Like they had to watch them fall like so many times.
When they're 9 and they're going, gonna do a triple flip off the vault. And you're like, oh my Lord. Yeah.
Although I have to say, growing up, my brother had like a chin-up bar in one of the, doorways. My sister was like such a freak. Like she literally would climb up there like a spider and then hang from her knees, and then like, because there was like right by the bathroom downstairs, my house, and then like wait for someone to come out of the bathroom, like my dad, and just like scare the crap out of him. But she was like fully upside down for like 7 minutes.
If I'm going to nitpick one thing about the broadcasting, and I hate to criticize a colleague of mine in sports media, but they should have hired me to do 3-on-3 basketball.
We knew this was coming.
And I would have just explained, like, what's different about it? Who's that guy? Like, I saw Leslie Jones being like, who's shooting underhanded free throws? And all the comments, of course, are like, it's Rick Barry's son. It's Rick Barry's son. It's Rick Barry. It's like, you got to contextualize. Remember Jimmer Fredette? Remember Kareem Maddox? He lost by 2 to Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. He's a beast. He works for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like, not like, who are these random dudes? They're not random, and they play in tournaments all
the time.
Every weekend they're going to Shanghai and da-da-da.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's just because it's a low priority sport, and it's like swimming, gymnastics, all that stuff's more important. But you hire your boy, I'm very cheap, and I go over there and I tell all the stories, like, no problem.
Okay. Good note.
Don't you agree or no? They did it with gymnastics. I didn't know that guy from, anybody, and then all of a sudden I go, okay, that's the guy who rides horses who got injured. That's the guy who's a nerd. Okay, I'm rooting for him.
I think
this guy's a social media guy.
I think they do it to varying degrees. I think that, I don't know, like I even like when we were watching and they were like introducing Colin Jost as like being in Tahiti or whatever, but I'm like, the interview was more about like Colin Jost and not about the surfers. And I'm like, Colin Jost works for NBC. So like we got that part. Like, tell me about the surfers. Like the woman who I'm most impressed with this Olympics is the Egyptian fencer who 7 months pregnant. 7 months pregnant.
Nice.
I mean, do you know how hard that is? At 7 months pregnant, you literally can't breathe. Like the baby is big enough where it's like pushing your organs around and you can't breathe. She's doing not just sports. She's doing like a full on like jousting thing. It's crazy. Like I don't know. I'm like, I feel like there are certain storylines that of course just like get picked up or whatever. But like there's certain things that I feel like on this broadcast where I'm like, but like who are the surfers to watch? Like who is out there? Like who's the most interesting? Who like recovered from a shark attack? Like I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm just more obviously defensive of Kareem, my boy.
Of course.
And I'm
you know
like,
him.
but there's like so many, and he himself is funny, and he's doing funny stuff. Like he wedged his ass right next to LeBron in the front of that boat.
Amazing.
He's definitely got, and I'm speaking for him, but he's definitely got the like, holy shit, this is cool. I'm gonna like, and he's like right there, and there's LeBron with the flag. But we got to wrap this up. What
else?
Nothing. That's it. We got to wrap it up. That's it.
That's it.
Unless you got anything else about the Olympics, Olympic ass motherfucker over here.
No, the only thing I was gonna say is that I think like because of the social media of it all, like I feel like some of the like main broadcasts are doing a little bit less of the like spotlight on Jimmer Fredette, because it's like, if you know who Jimmer Fredette is, like you probably already follow him and you've already heard the stories and you're following Kareem or whatever. But I think they're like, I don't know. The only thing I wanted to talk about, and then we can wrap up. I wanted to get your take on the Simone Biles of it all. Like not the fact that she won, which is awesome, but like that she was like throwing shade.
So for those who don't know, not Michaela Maroney, another Michaela Skinner said, you know, this team lacks the talent and they're not disciplined and don't work hard.
Right, they don't work hard.
And that's why they lost in Tokyo or got third or whatever they got. And so she wins, just a bunch of untalented, lazy people winning again. I guess it's okay to say that. I don't really love it. I think it's a high road moment.
I think so too.
And the other thing is,
especially because like Simone Biles is the GOAT, right? Like,
yeah, and you know that we both hate both feedback and criticism, and it really hurts our feelings a lot. And I got called fat by Rich Majerus on ESPN2 when I had a bad case of bronchitis, and he's like, he's out of shape. Savage is out of shape, and he can't breathe, and he's a loser. I was like, I'm so tired and I'm sick and I shouldn't even be playing. I'm a hero.
As someone who's been assumed to be pregnant many times when I was not.
I'm like, this is about the best I can do. I'm a college athlete. This is about the best shape I could be in.
I'm like, that's a thought you keep inside your head.
But that announcer saying, look, they didn't do what they had to take to win, and they didn't win. You can't fault Michaela Skinner for saying that was a poor job when they didn't win and they should have. So I really, as an announcer, I go, they say, tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. And I go, here's what I think. And then people go, ah.
My feeling is, and it's not even like a criticism of Simone exactly. It's just like, I agree, like you already proved the haters wrong by winning. You're like, even when you look at the other people who have won the all around, gymnastics gold, she's 7 or 8 years older than any of them have ever been. It's like an unbelievable, like, her comments weren't true. So you just proved it wrong. And I guess like there's just like a very positive way to spin it and go, we worked really hard. And like, I don't know, like I didn't think she needed to like bring up negativity from the past. I just like, especially because she is someone who like is so open about her like mental health and like I don't know. It just like,
and it's the they didn't believe in us card when you're the favorite, which you can't both be the favorite and play the nobody believed in us.
The underdog. Yeah, I agree.
But I really do have to go. We love you. Oh, call to action. Please.
Support Softbar and Carl Radke.
Yeah, support Carl. Oh no. Like the pod, subscribe to the pod, type your comments on the pod on the YouTube. It helps out the show. We're trying to make this thing go. Boom.
And I'd just like to thank our
subscribe.
sponsor, Bravo TV, and also Carl Radke, close personal friend of mine.
Could be one day.
Yeah, except that I can't drink non-alcoholic.
All right, bye. Love you.
Bye.